And I grew up in a, not a spiritual family so much, but very religious family. So I grew up in church and read the Bible several times, and grew up with certain gifts, seeing angels and seeing spirits and having downloads and messages and feeling light and energy come from my hands when I worked on animals, although I did not at the time know what it was. And then I was taught to fear all of that. And then in my early 20s, I started meeting people like me in Nashville. I was like, oh, I'm not so weird after all. Maybe I am, but there's more weirdos. So I guess for over 20 years, I've studied many dozens and dozens of healing modalities, and I have mentors all over the world, mainly in indigenous healing techniques and ways of life, from Native American to Peruvian to Celtic to New Zealand to African to everything. I learn. If there's a way or a situation for me to learn, I do. And I've been an herbalist for over 10 years, a French aromatherapist. I've been working with these oils specifically for over 5 years, and sound healing, everything, you name it, angel work. I've done a lot of different modalities. Currently, I do have a holistic health and wellness business where the bulk of what I do is one-on-one client sessions with energy work, emotional release techniques. I deal with a lot of deep trauma work as well in many different ways. A lot of people ask me if I'm a Reiki master, and I am. However, that's just one channel that I do. So linear healing is phenomenal. It's beautiful. I, as a practitioner, don't understand it. So when I'm in space with someone, I have a wide channel, and whatever they call in is what comes. And sometimes it's things I've studied, and sometimes I've never heard of it in this lifetime. And I'm a downloader, so I just channel it. Sometimes it's speaking other languages or singing or drumming or whatever it may be, ancient modalities. So it's always a blessing and an adventure and to always be learning. And on my path for over 30 years, I had a debilitating autoimmune disease that Western medicine told me I could never heal or reverse, that I would be in a wheelchair when I was 40, that I would never have children. I'm 46. I have zero pain. I used to have chronic pain for 30 years, and I have 3 kids. And they're all healthy. They have zero symptoms of this particular genetic illness. And I just never understood that my fate was going to be a certain thing. I always knew that there was a greater purpose, and that the earth and God would provide all that I needed and my inner self to be on this journey. And now those challenges and tribulations that I had now afford me the ability to have great empathy for others going through that same thing. Give me the space to be able to hold space for others and be a vehicle, a conduit to assist them on their healing, because we all have the power within us to shift and change our lives and our frequency and our path. We often, if we're in certain situations where there's great trauma or victimhood put upon us, we don't often see that power or recognize it. So I try to empower people to know that the abilities are there. God gives us everything with, or whatever you believe is source, in us and around us. All we need to do is ask and discover and know that that power is there. So with that, all of these things that you see are tools that I've used in my life. I just went through, you're talking about separation. Who was it recently, right? I too separated 2.5 years ago, and have been through a divorce and went through a big life change. I think I went through 2 bottles of release oil during my separation. So all of these things have helped me, not just my clients, but heal thyself, right? Are tools that I've come to learn. So this class that I'm giving you a tiny piece of is actually, in its whole entirety, is at least 3 hours long. So I'm just going to hit on little things about it. If you have deeper questions, please let me know. And then once I kind of go over a few things, I'll have you guys invite you to pick different tools, and we'll go through a sound bath healing as well. If you live, well, you can live anywhere. People travel from Santa Monica and Venice to my classes on Monday nights, but I'm in Van Nuys, kind of Sherman Oaks, Van Nuys, and every Monday night I have a sound bath at my place, and it's really beautiful. And the gorgeous thing is, my clientele is now 40% at least men, and at the sound baths, it's been so far 50%. And to have that, I think you taught on the divine feminine, right? Being really coming together, and more than waking up, I think it's stepping into our power unapologetically, right? And this last couple of years has really been big in feminine awareness and numbers and all this stuff if you study numerology. 2020 is the sacred masculine, right? And they're waking up like gangbusters. I see it all the time. So it's even more important for us to be rooted in who we are as women, so we can hold space for these men who are learning how to be vulnerable, that were taught their whole lives that it wasn't okay to be vulnerable. It wasn't okay to hold space for women in a certain way. So yeah, that's it. That's a little touch of my story. But when we talk about our emotions, right, and one of you might have talked about this, how we hold our emotions in our body. And we don't always realize that. And a lot of things that I teach clients to do is when you are breathing, when you're going throughout your life and you feel certain anxiety or tightness, right, to take a few moments and take some deep breaths and identify where that is and what emotion you might be feeling. Because Western society teaches us to disconnect from our feelings and our body, right? We don't honor that like our indigenous sisters and brothers, right, taught in ceremony to connect to that at a really deep level. So we're going to do that later. We're going to go through a little exercise to connect that. Now, there are lots of tools that we can use. When we use any kind of plant medicine, so it may be herbs, essential oils, CBD, cannabis, there's other plant medicines as well. Anytime our body is intaking a medicine, holistic medicine, these other types of modalities actually allow our nervous system to relax and intake those modalities at a deeper level, right? And it all works together. These plant oils are phenomenal working and releasing, right, these different emotions. But if we are always in a parasympathetic loop where we are in fight or flight and we just can't relax, then it's these oils or whatever you're doing, food or other herbs, aren't going to work as well, right? Because we're always in the sympathetic loop. So doing meditation, yoga, sound baths are amazing ways for us to ground. Okay, so come into your space and close your eyes. You can put a hand on your chest and a hand on your stomach. How powerful our mind is, right? Our mind is so powerful. That's why it's powerful to set intentions, right? Like we did before. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these oils have intentions in them already. You look at, release. You look at gathering. You look at transformation, right? Okay, my loves. We're going to come into connecting, right? So often we get so busy with everything and we get ungrounded. And knowing that you could just take a few deep breaths and be intentful with where you are and center yourself again. So close your eyes. And I'm gonna prompt you, breathing in and out. And this will give you an example of, notice how you're feeling right now. Okay. Breathing in, so everyone take a deep breath. I know I am breathing in. Breathing out. I know I am breathing out. Breathing in, I see myself as a beautiful flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh and alive. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid and grounded and rooted. Breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I reflect and accept things as they are. Breathing in, I see myself as space, as galaxies. Breathing out, I feel free. Just kind of breathing in and out a few more times on your own. And then open your eyes and just kind of notice how you feel now and if any images or thoughts came to your mind. And this was a little exercise or a poem by Thich Nhat Hanh, who's written so many amazing meditations and books and everything like that. But it's knowing that you have the power to ground yourself and bring yourself into space. Okay, so I pass those around, and we'll share in a moment once I go through some more of this. But essential oils, right? So when you smell them, they actually will change your limbic system really quickly, right? There's different ones for, let me turn this around here, that support different parts of your body systems, right? But the beautiful thing about oils is that they hit more than one system and they work together. So I'll pass that around, and a couple other things. You can take one of each of these. These are just, you can take pictures of them, but I always OD on information. So essential oils, there's singular oils as well as so many blends, which you'll see there. Some examples are bergamot helps you to let go of anger and anxiety and loneliness. Frankincense, who's used frankincense before in meditation? Oh, so amazing, right? When I inhale frankincense, it is, I don't think I put that out, it's in here somewhere. To me, it reminds me of church. It reminds me of just a deep sacred meditation. Heal a Christian helps with letting go of panic and loneliness and being really grounded in where you are at the moment. Somebody was telling me about chamomile. Who was using chamomile? Let's go of irritability. Right? It helps you be really relaxed.
Is German chamomile different than just the
Roman? So there's two kinds. There's Roman chamomile, which is the yellow flowers, which you see in teas and all that kind of thing, right? And then German chamomile is a different variety. Okay. So they smell really different. I might have Roman chamomile.
You have German, right? Yeah.
So it has a color. It's like a very purplish. Yeah. It smells like Pop-Tarts or something. And it's different. I feel like I just want to with that one. And Roman chamomile relaxes me, but it's a whole different feeling for me. Rose, have you tried rose yet? Has the highest, I'm out of it actually. I can kind of smell the bottle. I think I'm completely out. But it has the highest frequency, right? We have frequencies. We resonate at 77 megahertz frequency if we are at balance. And anything that has carbon in it, right? Crystals, oils, all will either raise or lower our frequency. And you say, gosh, why would I want to lower my frequency? Well, have you ever felt really anxious and all the way up here? Or if you do a lot of spiritual stuff, you're like flying if you're working with tektite or certain crystals, right? So we need things to ground us sometimes too, and quote unquote balance, not necessarily lower, but balance our frequencies. So we can use these oils in all types of ways. And I'll talk about them specifically a little bit more when we pass that around. Okay. Who uses crystals? We're on my crystal babies in here. Ready? Okay. I grew up on a farm and I would collect river rocks and stones since I could talk, and would break open the crystals or the rocks trying to find quartz crystals. I was just obsessed. And I didn't really even know what they were other than they were beautiful and I wanted to have as many of them as I could. And there are crystals there in the middle, rocks and stones, if you want to look at them or pass them around, and you can just grab one or two that resonate with you. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to pass these around to...
And what does it mean when certain ones resonate with you?
Okay, so there's tons of books, right? There's hundreds of books on crystals. I forgot to bring my book, one of my books. But, and that's fun to read what they are and what qualities and properties they have. However, I say, because people are always like, what do I pick? What do I choose? Whatever calls to you. And I don't have a book with me, but if you look some of them up, I bet it resonates with what
is going on.
You need. It's like picking an oracle card or something.
Right.
It's like always spot on. Okay. And your intuition knows, your higher self knows. We don't need to make guesswork out of this.
I passed the rose around. Yeah, I found it.
It's out. You can't really smell it too much anymore. Okay, so different crystals for ground would be hematite, smoky quartz, jasper. and there's many more, selenite as well. If you're using for meditation, clear quartz, rose quartz, amethyst, they're all quartz. Help you connect with higher power. Moss agate.
And what?
That I did.
That's moonstone.
Moonstone.
There's tons. There's like 7 different colors of moonstone. People think of moonstone as being the whitish, grayish stone, but there's many different ones. That's always good. Yeah, if you have a question, I can tell you, most of them, and then you can look it up on your phone because I forgot my books, but that's okay. Some of the basic crystals that will help. I call them the starter ones.
The starter crystals?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with the crystals? Like when you're meditating or whatever it is?
So, stones, to activate their frequency, they need to be heated, right?
Oh.
So the best way to heat them is with our bodies. Now, it's great to have them sitting around; they'll still clear.
Okay.
But in order to really activate their frequency, they need to be heated. So some people have lamps, or I have a smoky quartz lamp at home, and we have Himalayan quartz, or not quartz, Himalayan salt lamps. It's not a stone, but it is a mineral, of course. And rocks are minerals. So to heat them, we lay them on our body or wear them on our body, right, as necklaces or rings or bracelets, whatever that may be, putting them in our pockets. So in meditation, what you would do is you can hold them in your hands, lay them on your chakras. My clients have them all over them usually. And I do not actually, I've taken over a dozen crystal healing classes over the years and I've taught many. I throw all that knowledge out when I'm using them on myself or others. I don't use throat chakra stones specifically for throat chakra always, or whatever it may be. It's perfectly fine to do that. What I do, and I don't really have a choice in this because they yell at me, is I just clear my mind and they talk to me. They light up for me. And I click into the person's higher self, and that's what I do. That's where they go, how they go, in the order that they go in. It's very specific. Sometimes there's grids, and if my human self gets it wrong, they'll yell at me and I have to rearrange them. So when you connect, it's all about your intuition. You don't have to know all the knowledge. It's cool, it's amazing to do it, but you don't have to know everything to use them. So the main thing is put them on you. How does it feel? Some people may be sensitive to the frequencies and it may heat up, it may vibrate. And if you don't feel that, it doesn't mean you're wrong or blocked or anything like that. You just may not resonate with that frequency or that stone, or that may not be your unicorn power. We're all different, right? So that is one thing, or several things that you can do with stones. I love making grids with them as well for energy and intention. So you can use them in your meditation just as another tool, right? And sometimes it's like a worry stone or a binky for a kid. It's nice to have them, especially when you're going through emotional transitions and things like that. They're comforting, right? They feel grounding. They're pretty, right? Do whatever you need to do. Those are some ways that you can use the crystals for that. Herbs. Who likes to drink tea or take herbal supplements? I'll pass this around. I'm actually sold out. I'm reformulating right now, but I'm an herbalist, so I have my own tea blend that I sell in stores and online. That is all mantra based, so bringing back around our intentions, right? That is my blend, I Am Relaxed. So it has chamomile, spearmint, and lemon balm. And when we are talking about, again, another type of plant medicine, where we are using herbs, herbs are, obviously essential oils are taken from herbs. What I love about teas is they're so gentle and so tonifying. It's a little strong sometimes for people, right? And so it's another way to intake this medicine with smell, with intention, right? You can add your oils with it if you want certain oils. And also hitting another sense, right? I love hitting smell, right? We burn our incense and sage and everything like that. We inhale the fragrance, the aromatherapy of it, right? And then we're tasting, right? And noticing, sometimes it's bitter, right? Sometimes it's floral and fragrant. And allowing deep breathing, our mantras and meditations when we are taking these things, again, reset our nervous system, right? And take the plant medicine in as many senses as you can in a very present way will just increase how it works on our bodies. Pass these around. Some people like to use, again, just another tool. Oracle cards or angel cards, whatever you want to call them. There's thousands of them. If you like dragons, there's a dragon deck. If you like angels, there's a if you like cars, there's I don't know. There's a million different kinds of decks. Oils, herbs, you name it. Unicorns. For me, I use it as an intention and also a way to go deeper into my higher self. And another way to reflect. So if you want to pull a card, you can. It's always interesting to see what comes up. I was like, dang, how is that so correct? Sometimes I'll be like, I'll pull one, I'll be like, oh no, go back on another one, because I know that, I know that's what's happening. Like,
Best out of three. Best out of three.
I know. No, I don't want to deal with this right now. Go back. Be sure. Oh, here's another crystal one. Oh, thank you. All right, here's a big one. Do you ever notice that your mood changes depending upon what you eat, what you intake, right? Huge. So one of the biggest things that really shifted my health, my autoimmune the autoimmune I used to have, was my diet. Because at that point, what I realized, what I was dealing with, my gut was shot, my nervous system was shot, I had systemic yeast, parasites, microbial and non-microbial. I had heavy metal, pretty much everything that someone that goes through chronic trauma or severe trauma at a young age, because that's what turned on my gene, and then manifests for so long, so many decades, that you just have systemic issues in every single system, endocrine system. My ovaries were totally screwed at the time, so many different things. And we can also turn off those genes and heal our bodies, right? So food was a huge part of what I did to heal. I've tried every diet, every way of eating, every way of being, every weird, crazy coconut oil diet. Only eat coconut oil for 3 days. Literally, that's what I did. No joke. I only had apple cider vinegar for days or weeks at a time. Bone broth, which is what really helped to heal. I did in the one book, The GAPS Diet, which is if you have any kind of autoimmune issues, is a must read, or nervous system issues, schizophrenia, bipolar, etc. You got to read that book. But they say, probably 3 days to do the bone broth. I did, I think it was 9 days of only bone broth until I could actually eat food and feel good, because for years, anytime I ate something, I couldn't feel good. So diet is a big one. So looking at, first of all, noticing the way it affects you. If you're eating sugar and you feel like you're going crazy or want to punch someone out, probably a trigger for you, right? Looking at processed foods, food dyes for kids is huge. Why we haven't outlawed it yet in this country, well, I know why, but when Kellogg's takes it out of a lot of their products, or Procter & Gamble or whatever, you know that they're looking at lawsuits that are coming down because of all the knowledge that we're getting on food dyes. I think is it 13 countries or more already have outlawed food dyes, and many, many more of the additives. So it's a big thing, right? Serotonin is this neurotransmitter that helps to regulate what we're eating. So if you're not eating whole grains, if you're eating processed grains, it's going to affect your serotonin. And it's things that you really have to look at if you're having mood swings and dips. And some of us may be hitting the premenopause or perimenopause or menopausal stage. And that is huge with our hormones, right? And if we're not eating a diet that is balanced for us, then we're going to see those things fluctuate and be harder to handle. So diet. All right, sound. Close your eyes for a second. Notice how you feel. Let me do this. when they heard that sound when it came over to their ears? Did you notice any difference or shift? Look at your eyes.
I just felt a physical, like, kind of like chill down my spine.
Mm-hmm. So it was quick. But what happens, what vibration does, right? Sound waves, vibrational sound waves, actually recalibrate your nervous system, decreases anxiety, right? It actually is proven to decrease pain. There are quite a few oncology departments, that use sound vibration with people that are going through chemo, right? They're using forks and bowls and chanting and all kinds of music like that, filtering through to help not only the patients relax, but actually to help with pain transmitters. So it's huge. Our ancestors have been using it. It's not new, y'all, for thousands and thousands of years. And it's something that Western culture is reawakening to, right, as we are getting to chronic. Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yes.
So sound therapy is wonderful for relaxation, for chemotherapy, but it's also very instrumental for healing those cells before someone goes to chemotherapy.
It is. It helps to recalibrate, right? Shedding what does it? Helping to actually repair ruptured DNA. Absolutely. Yeah, it's beautiful. And I can see, especially trauma, it is a beautiful tool if you are working through deep trauma or releasing issues that are blocking you, to use in conjunction, whether it's yourself using it or going to sound baths or whatever it is, to actually release what you're releasing, noticing where things are stuck in your body and allowing that sound to help. It's a tool, right? So we don't have to work so hard. We don't have to work that hard. It's hard enough to release this stuff. So use all the tools we can to assist us in our bodies. It's just beautiful. And bringing us into alignment. Let's see. I'm trying to go through this quickly. Of course, I'm not going to go big into this, but exercise, right? Identifying every part of our life. There is no separation between body, mind, spirit, and heart. There isn't. So when one system is off, the others are going to follow to some varying degree. So it's looking at every part of your life. Putting pen to paper is so powerful. We lose that a lot these days with our devices, right? We're typing. And there is a actual brain connection, right? Very valuable in actually rewiring our nervous system and releasing when we actually flow that energy from our brain to our hand and write things out. Powerful release tool. Has anyone ever done automatic writing or release writing therapy? Super. You just clear your mind. We can teach a whole class on this, but basically clearing your mind and just writing the first things that come out. If you've ever done the daily, what's it called? The daily writings. It's a huge book. I can't remember what it is, but The Artist's Way is one of them. You're writing just for 3 minutes. Just let everything go, everything you're afraid to say, cussing and yelling and anger or whatever it is, and then burn it, release it, let it go. And it really works, right? It releases, we bottle things up so much. It's why therapy and talking to our girlfriends, right, is so big and helpful. Yeah.
Do you do out-of-body experience?
OBEs, I've had OBEs, yeah, many. Astral projections.
I used to do it when I was younger. All the time when I was a little kid, but I lost it. But when I was younger, I used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
And then when I went to college, I got a little scared because sometimes it was hard to get back.
Yeah, and you can get back to it. I mean, we can talk deeper about it.
It's hard for me to get back into it.
I know, I'm saying you can. It's just taking
So I got scared
the time.
and I have stopped doing it.
Gotcha, yeah. Yeah, you can definitely call that back. But like you said, what you were sharing upstairs so beautifully is getting back to you, right? And really all the things that were piled upon you and you're being scared about it. It's a step-by-step journey. We can talk more about it for sure. Yeah, thank you.
I miss it.
It's
Yeah.
you see during the last few days, I've been projecting like crazy and it's super wild. Yeah, it's I mean, I do it a lot, but it's really deep now, and it's a lot of collective information and different places and realms and stuff. And it's, you really have to trust and breathe, because it can be a little surreal for sure. Okay, so just to kind of go, I didn't even talk about water, hydration. We were talking about that earlier. If you feel ungrounded or releasing a lot, you want to make sure you're doing Epsom salt baths or Himalayan salt baths, and you can combine the oils with it. If you use oils, make sure you put it in the salt, not the water. So if not, the oils are just floating on the top, right? So if you put them into the salt, it becomes an emulsifier, and the molecules stick together, and then your body is able to absorb it better. If not, it's just kind of floating. You'll still get the aromatherapy of it, but you're not getting all the benefits absorbing into your body.
So salt is very important. You know, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no,
You
please.
just said something. When the priest was at my house Friday, for my mom, he was there. Then I asked him to bless my house. He said, "Oh, do you have any salt?"
Yep.
And he put the salt in the holy water.
So you can use it, it raises frequency, and then it also, some people throw it around their house or throw it to clear, so it's a great clearing. So if you do a lot of energy work or just feeling kind of like, I want to smack somebody, salt actually will shift your vibration and help you release as well. Some people say it gets out the bad vibes, or I call it balancing you.
So what do you do with it?
And it recharges you. I'm sorry, it's a big one. It's a recharger. So the negative ions, right, help to recharge you. Same with grounding. We live in a positive charged world. Cell phones, negative news, negative people, thoughts, food that's not good for you, are all positive charged ions. And then negative ions, salt, grounding, water, seawater. If you can get to seawater, any kind of cleansing water will charge us in a negatively charged, right? And so it balances those polarities out and helps us feel grounded. You go to the ocean, right? Put your toes in the sand and the water, and you go home. You just want to pass out, right? You get the sun therapy, all of that, right? The sun is very beautifully will clear us and ground us, right? And charge us, right? In a really positive charge ions, but it's different, right? Beautiful way that helps to ground us. So using all of those tools for sure. Himalayan salt is a little different than sea salt, is a little different. Epsom salt actually pulls stuff from us. Sea salt will, help ground us and clear us. Yeah, it's a lot of different things. Meditating, massage, touch, all those things, right? And if you're having a bad day, there's nothing like getting a hug or a massage from a loved one, right? Of course, resting. Okay, that was like the supercharged power. The run through really quickly. I didn't touch on everything, but it kind of gives you a little bit.
That was pretty interesting that gratitude was facing me, and then transformation, because I feel like I am going through some sort of transformation. And I don't know. I feel like I need some help getting through it, but maybe I'm trying to get through it faster than I should. I don't know.
Time is an interesting thing. In the spirit world, there is no time. Humans, of course, it helps us to get to places where we need to go. But I find, especially in social media, that there seems to be judgment on, I'm not doing it as quick as she is, or it doesn't look as pretty as she is, or whatever. We put our pressure on ourselves. I'm not doing it fast enough. I'm not doing it right. I get that a lot. What's the right way to ground and heal? I don't know. What way serves you? I mean, we can talk about tools, but part of the learning is finding what serves you, right? And that's the beautiful journey. It can sometimes be a little feel sideways, but it's part of your learning, right? We're meant to have discomfort to grow. We are not meant to stay in suffering. And that's why when you feel like your discomfort is turning into suffering, or you've had suffering for a long time, using whatever tools it takes to help shift you out of that. Because we are meant to grow. We are meant to find more and more joy and happiness in our lives. But often it takes the contrast of our discomfort, of our suffering, to show us, right, when we need to shift or how to shift, or even have gratitude for what we have now, right? We learn so much through contrast. You ever meet someone, especially dating or whatever, relationships, and you think, oh, they're cool, and then they go, I don't want that, and then all of a sudden this other person comes, and you're like, hey, oh, yeah, I really appreciate that even more because I just dealt with that, right? That's contrast. That's my lessons all the time right now, it seems like. Contrast. So it's beautiful. And when we have, the other thing I want to say, when you said about needing help, right? There is a certain place that being by ourselves and cocooning serves when we are healing or going through something, definitely. There's also a place for community, for tribe, right? We are not meant to always be alone, but there are places, I guess it's developing the intuition when you know the difference. Sometimes we really should be alone, but we go out, we party, we do this and that because we don't want to deal with what's awaiting us, right? So sometimes we have to go, okay, I'll do this. So I'm like, okay, it's time for me to go on a solo camping trip again. I'm going to just disconnect, leave my phone in the car, and go away in nature for 3 days. We can't always all do that all the time, right? So it's finding the little things that become our comforts, right? Going to the park during lunch, or taking 3 deep breaths in your car at a stoplight, or doing little things for yourself that make you have you so that you can have that alone time, right, to recoup and be able to really listen to yourself and get to a deeper place with where you are at this present moment. Okay.